It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, and I'm here with my Wealth Wednesday partner, Stacey Tisdale.
Happy Wealth Wednesday, and we are trying to take our investment money way up this week.
That's right. Teri Ijeoma is here with us. Hey, Teri.
Hey, Angela. Hey, Stacey.
Hey, Teri. And Teri is the founder of Trade and Travel, and it looks like that's exactly what you are doing right now. Where are you, girl?
I am in Lisbon, Portugal.
Wow.
And right before that, I was in Florence, Italy. And before that, I was in Bali. I have been on the road like crazy, but it's been absolutely amazing.
So
it's
you're
been
really
great.
trading and traveling.
I am. Actually, this is so fun. I made $27,000 in my hotel room in Florence. We went and we explored Tuscany. We did a wine tour. We saw some shops and restaurants. Then I got home because in Europe, the market opens later. So I got home, looked at my stocks, and Meta was doing really well. So I traded some Meta, made $27,000, paid
Wow.
for the whole trip. I was like, that's why I do this. This is what trade and travel is.
Well, yeah, let's talk about trade and travel for people who maybe didn't catch our prior interviews with you, Teri. So tell us why you started trade and travel.
Sure. So I was in a job that was kind of toxic, and I had been in education for about 10 years. So for my educators, you know that sometimes you want to quit. And I was crying in the bathroom every day. It was time. And I needed an escape. I just wanted to have more freedom. And it was one of those things where I just needed more choices in my life. The school was good. The kids were sweet, but I just needed to be able to leave the building. So I started working on my trading even more. I've been trading now 13 years. So it's been for a while, but I was doing it as a side hustle. And I said, okay, if I could just make $300 a day, then I'll be able to quit. I'll be able to leave and start traveling all over the world. And I did that, y'all. So I started traveling all over. I was in Thailand, Vietnam, South Korea. And while I was gone, people started asking me, wait, we know you were just in education. Teach us how to do that too. So that's where trade and travel came from. I was traveling all over the world, and I was affording it by trading stocks. And then people started asking me to teach them. So I did, and came up with trade and travel.
I don't think anybody thinks about that. You said you just set a goal of making $300 a day. That sounds even doable.
It is. When I teach my students, we're looking at 1% of our cash amount. So whatever amount that you're trading in your portfolio, if you can just do small bite-sized gains or consistent wins, that will actually lead to growing your account. And a lot of times we don't need a lot of money to live. So for me, if I want to go to a really nice restaurant, okay, if I splurge a little bit and maybe sometimes I like to taste test, get all the appetizers, get all the food. The bill's like $200. Well, I can afford it. I could trade a little bit and then get $200. Or if I want to go on a boat cruise or something fun, sometimes those tickets are maybe $300, $400. I can trade and get that. So sometimes you don't need a lot. You just need enough to afford the things that you really love.
Can you tell us how this works too? Because I think sometimes people invest in the stock market, but they don't trade, right? Because there's a difference in letting your money sit so that you have that and the stock is growing and trading. So can you walk us through what that's like if you're like, okay, I want to get $300 a day. How does a person do that?
Yeah, very different from long term.
Sure. So let's think about Meta stock. Let's think about Facebook and Instagram. They're all part of Meta, the company. Today, Meta stock moved about $3.50. So let's just say that I had invested in 100 shares of Meta, and then it went up $3.50. And at the end of the day, I sold it. Well, that would have given me a profit of $350. And I can actually take that profit, now it's called realized gains, take that profit and then move it to my regular bank account. Or maybe, and that's a day trade. If you get in and out in the same day, that's a day trade. So sometimes I day trade, but sometimes I swing trade. So for example, on this trip, I've kept some stocks in for a week or so. So I might get in Monday, let the stock move, get out the next week, and still I get into the stock, sell the stock, make some money, and then I can use it for something else.
And how do you know what stock you plan to invest in? How can you predict? Because, I mean, of course, nothing is foolproof. But for you, what's your method?
So disclaimers is for educational purposes only. But I've actually been trading about 30 stocks for the last 13 years. It's crazy. Every now and again, I'll add one.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
You've been riding the same 30 stocks?
Same 30. What's crazy is every now and again though, I'll put one in and take one out. So for example, there was a time where I had a lot of the cannabis stocks in there. I took those out because they went to zero. And there was a time where we had the work from home stocks like DocuSign and some of the others, and those have moved. So
Zoom.
sometimes I'll go with the
I
trend.
rode that up and down, all the way back down.
Right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, I really like tech. So you'll see my portfolio is pretty tech heavy. Like you'll see Amazon, Meta, Adobe. I also like the semiconductors. So a little bit of the chips that go in your phone, a little bit of NVIDIA and AMD. And then food wise, I like Chipotle because I like to eat it, but then also the stock does well.
Let me ask
So
you this.
I got a little bit of everything, but once I pick those stocks, I ride with them.
Well, a couple of things here. One, so there is, just so people know, there's a potential that sometimes you might pick a stock and it doesn't do what you wanted it to do because it's always a risk. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to get Meta and it's always going to go up and then I can day trade that. That doesn't always happen. And second thing I want to ask you is Amazon. I saw Jeff Bezos bought one share of Amazon stock. I don't know, did you see that story that he bought one share? And that's the first share he's bought in over 20 years of Amazon. Why would he do something like that? Okay.
You know what's crazy? Amazon has been one of my ride or die. So Amazon is the stock that I made $1 million in a day with. But then also Amazon is the one that really hurt me last year. Amazon lost a lot in the bear market of 2022. So you just have to that's why I love being a trader. Because we can kind of get in and out of stocks instead of just riding them for the long haul and having no control. Mm-hmm. So I'm for it. If he bought one, let's go Amazon.
Let's back up a minute because I'm listening to the two of you right now. It's like, ooh, you sound like professional stock pickers, advisors.
Not me. That's Teri.
I think. Well, yeah, but you sound like you sound like you know what you're talking about. You have helped, and in reality here, let's back up a bit. You've been on CNBC, you've been on Forbes, you've been on every show. You've helped over 35,000 students. You did not grow up in stocks. Someone hearing this for the first time and saying, I want to do this too, how did they get started? And first of all, tell them what they need to know, what you teach them, and how they got started.
Sure. Well, and let me clarify with CNBC, I haven't been on there yet, but it is one on my wish list. So hopefully it'll
Forbes,
come up soon.
CBS, my mistake.
Yep.
Okay.
Bloomberg, Good Morning America. Yes, I've been on all of those.
Yeah.
So here's what I say when we think about getting started. Back when I was in high school, Google had their initial public offering. So they had gone public and started offering shares of their company. And I was dying to get in. I was a senior in high school. I had just done this summer program learning about stocks. And then I said, okay, well, I want to get in. So I went to my teachers, I went to my grandmother, and nobody knew how to get in. So what I wish they had told me, because back then Google was $83 a share. It ran up to over $3,000. I missed out on over $500,000 of profit. If I had just been able to invest when I wanted to at 17, that would have set me up so much better. Like, can you imagine what you can do with $500,000 as a kid or even as a grown up?
Yeah, as a kid.
Just from the investment.
Think about it.
Right?
Yeah.
And that would have been if I had just invested in 100 shares, not even anything huge. But at that time, if I had $8,300, y'all know I've done this math in my head. I'm like, man, if I had $8,000 back at 17 years old and knew what to do, it would have turned into over $500. It's actually over $510,000 as an adult. So many things that would have helped me with in life. But okay, so here's the things I wish that they had told me. I wish they told me how to open up a brokerage account. It's just like opening up a checking account or a savings account, but you need a certain type of account in order to trade stocks. So I wish they knew how to do that. Then we have to think about the stock. So I wanted to invest in Google. You have to know the ticker symbol. So I wish they would have told me, like, how do you research that? How do you know a little bit more about what you're investing? And then I would have wished they would have told me how to actually enter the trade. All right, Teri, you want some Google? This is how you actually place the trade to buy the shares of Google. I didn't know any of that. And then in order to actually realize that 500,000, it would have been good for me to do that last year, or the year before they started falling a little bit. But you need to know how to sell it. Like, how do you actually exit the trade? I have
Yes.
so many students that come to me and they're like, Teri, I think I'm making money, but I don't know how to get out. So I wish they had told me. Those are the steps you need to really get started.
And what type of fees are associated with? Because, when you buy and trade stocks, clearly there's some fees, right, that are associated with that. So for some people, they feel like the fees are so high, does it make sense?
Well, now the fees in trading have really come down. All of the brokers, when I was started, it used to be $5 to get into a trade and $5 to get out. So that means every time you traded, it cost you $10. But now a lot of the online brokers, so E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, all of them, TradeStation, they've gone down to zero fees on, now this is the thing, on stocks. So on equities, if you're trying to buy a share, sell a share, you really probably won't have many fees. It's when you start going into things more complicated like options trading that they do have like, okay, 50 cents to get in, 50 cents to get out. But even with that, that's still so much better than $10. And even before my time, other people were like, it used to cost me $100, Teri, and I had to call a broker to do it. I couldn't do it online. So now the barriers to entry are so much lower.
And it's great. Again, you were talking about people can do small amounts, long-term investing, investing a whole different thing. And I know trading changed your life in terms of what you were able to do for your own family and your parents. Tell us about that.
One of the stories that I love is, and there's so many stories now. I've been doing it so long now, but one of the stories that I really love is because of trading, I was able to set up a fund for my parents' health. Anytime they need to go to the doctor, they have a fund where they can actually access the money. And it's so small, like you don't realize how important that is. But what I realize is my parents, a lot of times, they wouldn't even go to the doctor because they thought they couldn't afford it.
Right.
Like if their tooth hurt, then they would just suffer and deal with it because, oh man, they're going to tell me it costs this much and I can't afford that. So I said, no, mommy, daddy, stepdad, I got 4 parents. I got a whole bunch of parents, aunts, uncles. Y'all, if somebody needs to go to the doctor, then you have a fund. And my mom called me one day and she had gone to the dentist and the dentist was looking at her and didn't think that she could afford her procedure. She needed to get her wisdom teeth out and she actually needed to get all 4 of them out. And so the lady was like, well, I think it's going to be too much for you to get all of them done. Do you want to just get one done? And my mom was like, but don't I need all of them? She's like, yeah, but it's expensive. And so my mom's like, no, do them all. And then the lady was like, but anesthesia costs a lot. Do you want to do it without anesthesia?
No.
And my mom was like, no.
You definitely don't want to do that.
Like, why are you trying to kill me? But at the end of the day, my mom was like, no, I want all 4 done. I want all the anesthesia. And I wish my mom had said, and I don't want you to do it. I want somebody else to do it. But she didn't do all that. And all of that was because she could actually afford it. And she called me later and she was like, you know what, Teri, she calls me something else, a little nickname, but she was like, you know what? She said, money can't buy you happiness, but it does buy you dignity.
You talk about dignity a lot in terms of what stock trading does for the Black community. Yeah.
And hold her head up. So I love that. I love that it could change things like that. And even little things like my mom, because we didn't grow up with a lot, my mom used to always have to go to the grocery store and get what was on the coupon list. Right. She could never just go to the grocery store and get whatever. And now, she goes to the grocery store all the time just because she has the choice to get whatever she wants.
Throw it in the bag, baby. Let's go organic,
Right?
All that.
Give me a little bit of this. You know what? That looks real good. Give me some of that. Yeah. It's the little things.
Teri, let me ask you about, because there's a lot of information out there about trading stocks, right? You can go on YouTube. You can find it. What's different about actually signing up for your class to learn how to do it?
Well, the 35,000 people who signed up, they have told me, and I just go by what my students say. They've told me a couple things. One, they've said it's about the convenience. So when you're going on YouTube, it takes a lot of time. You don't know really who to trust. You don't know which person is going to give you the right information. So there's just an ease of having it all in my trade and travel class, or even in the take your first trade class that we're going to allow everybody to be a part of. There's an ease of having everything in one place. 2, I was in education for 10 years and I've been called the teacher's teacher. Many of the people that you all see teaching, I've taught them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like the person who coaches the teachers. And I'm a teacher. So a lot of our students are educators and they're like, Teri, we see the classroom management, we see the check for understanding, we see you keep going, right? And then I think some of it too is just I know where everybody's been. Like I've lost, I've made money, I've been through all the emotional parts of trading. Like trading can be emotional.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that too, having somebody who you can trust to say, okay, this is what it's going to feel like. This is what I should do. So all of those are the reasons why people like my class versus just YouTube.
You said you created this for people who were losing. And tell us, so we want to tell people how they can sign up for this amazing program you've created, but just tell us a little bit about, have you ever lost financially in your trading journey?
Oh, yes. Of course I've lost. Yes. I have totally lost. And you know
when
what?
you
Some of my
started,
best-
correct? Like, because a lot of people are going to be
Yeah.
starting this for the first time and making those mistakes. How did that work out for you?
Sure. So one of the reasons why I'm really passionate about helping people that lose is because the first 6 years that I was trading, I didn't know what I was doing. And I had gone to MIT, so I felt like I could make my own algorithm. So I was like, I can definitely master this. But instead of mastering it, I was just losing. Like I would make some and then I'd lose more and then I'd make some. So it was this cycle, right? And I know a lot of people have felt that if they've been trading, they might have made a little bit, they've made a little bit of money and then it went away. So I think about me and the first 6 years of me trading and how I wish that someone had just come in and taught me, because there's so many little things, like the fact that you can use a stop loss to protect yourself from losing,
Mm-hmm.
or even quantity size. There's little things that if I had just known that one nugget, it would have saved me so much money. So that's why I'm passionate. And then to your question of have I lost? Of course I have. Everything that you invest in is a risk. But like I said, some of my biggest losses taught me the biggest lessons. So all of the things I teach in my class about risk management came from lessons I personally learned.
And your class, it's investyourwayup.com. That's how people can find it. We love that title.
Yes.
Investyourwayup.com. And I know you're actually offering a 75% discount to the
Ooh.
Way Up audience. We thank you so
I
much for that.
am.
And we're really grateful for that.
And I want to be on this next trip. Like I want to go to Portugal. I want to go
We're
to
both going on the next trip. Definitely both
Come
going on
on,
the
come
next
on.
trip.
I want to do the pyramids. I want to do India. So come on. And then to the point of the challenge. So yes, I created this quick starter and it was to help people start fast. Like so many people are like, Teri, I'm a novice. I don't know anything. Where do I start? This is the thing that will help you. It's 5 videos, the first 5 steps that you need in order to start trading. And by the end of it, you will actually have taken your first trade. You will have bought a share and sold a share so that in the future, if you're like me, wanting to invest in Google, you'll know what to do.
Why
And
was
yes,
that?
go to investyourwayup.com.
Why was that important to you? Because I know Angela was mentioning all the information out there, like on YouTube and stuff, showing people, but you literally walk people through opening account, the information that they'll need to follow stocks, and the 5 days you take your first trade. Why was that important to you to actually walk them through instead of just tell them how to do it?
The biggest question that I get is, how do I get started?
Yeah.
Teri, I've been interested for a long time, but I don't know where to start. Oh, this looks too confusing, too complicated. How do I do it? So I just wanted to take them by the hand and just really walk them all the way through. And even for a lot of my trade and travel students, so we go deeper. We go into how do you make consistent income so that you can potentially leave your job, or maybe just so you can pay off your house or do something big. But when you're first starting, you need that little push, that nudge to say, okay, let me get over my fear, get over myself. It's not that hard, and just take that first trade. So that's why it was really important to me.
Okay, I have a challenge for everybody out there listening. It is just a couple of days until Juneteenth. Why don't you invest in your financial freedom to celebrate the holiday and go to investyourwayup.com, start the course. And Juneteenth is also another special day, Teri.
It's my birthday.
Oh, wow.
Which is
Okay.
yes, so we really want to get you.
I'm a Juneteenth baby.
Well, happy birthday. That makes all the sense in the world.
Thank you. Right. Y'all get some financial freedom on my birthday. That's my gift to you, and it could be your gift to me.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, Teri Ijeoma, thank you. And I know you're on your trip right now, so back to the travels. But again, you can go to investyourwayup.com and take your first trade.
And look at you
Yeah.
trading and traveling and living the dream.
Woohoo. See y'all. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
take
you
care.
so much.